Welcome to my kitchen. I wanted to show you today some of the must-haves for a large family that cooks from scratch. My kitchen is definitely a working kitchen. I'm constantly doing dishes, moving things around, cleaning up messes, and that's why I feel it's really important for anyone else starting out in this lifestyle of from scratch cooking, and whether you have a large family or not, that this is an important thing to know up front. I'm really hoping that with today's video, this will give you a glimpse into my natural living from scratch cooking large family lifestyle, and to help give you ideas of what you could be using and even things that maybe you could swap out to make your lifestyle more of what you're hoping for. I know that when I watch YouTube videos of people working in their kitchen and describing what they use and why they use it, it's given me a lot of ideas and some things I've implemented in my own kitchen. When I had first started out, I had absolutely no idea what I was doing. I didn't even know that some of the things that I was using were toxic to me, and I didn't quite understand how wasteful I was being with all the paper products and things like that. So I'm hoping that with this, I can shed some light and help you on your journey to from scratch cooking with your family. So you can kind of notice that I am showing you me working in my kitchen, and that's because I kind of want you to see the layout of things that I have. You can see everything that's on my counters is everything that I really use quite often. And my first and foremost must have in any from scratch homesteading large family kitchen is my gas stove. I cannot ever go back to electric. I am not a fan of it whatsoever. I feel like every time I put my cast iron pan on top of it, I was going to crack that flimsy glass and my cast iron would just slide all around it. I really did not appreciate it. And the other thing is, where we live, we get blackouts and brownouts and all that loveliness from PG&E. And so when the power goes out, we didn't have a heat source with electric, or even a way to cook. But with gas, you can cook continually. And there goes my husband. And you can also, in a pinch, warm your house with the oven, obviously safely. So I find that that is really my first and foremost must have wherever I live. I must have a gas stove of some sort. And here I am just showing you how I take care of my cast iron. The cast iron is very important. One of my second must-haves is cast iron. Having these has changed definitely how I cook. When I first started out with cast iron, I did some research and I found the Finex. I think that's how you say it. This is a 12-inch skillet from them. I went ahead and bought like an entire set from them. Even had like this little one. They are very, very expensive, but they are very, very nice. This one, as you can see, the handle, you can actually grab it while you're cooking, unlike the Lodge. These ones, as you can see, it's all big one piece. These are much, much heavier. Some Dutch ovens. The pink one is what I've been using for bread recently. And then you'll see a small crepe pan in the back is also a cast iron. Buy what you can when you can. Lodge is a great brand to start with. Whatever you're doing, just make sure you're checking what the temperature recommendations are, especially if you're planning on baking bread with it, because you're going to need it 450, 500, and you want to make sure that that cast iron, enameled or not, can actually go at that temperature without harming your tools. One of the other new things that has become a necessity for me in my kitchen, especially with a large family and cooking from scratch, things like breads, I had to upgrade from my KitchenAid. It was just way too small. I had the basic small one though, so I know the larger ones can accommodate actually making a loaf of bread, maybe two, but I was finding that it was crawling up the dough hook and out the bowl and just everywhere, and it was not worth it to me. So I was actually able to get a Bosch mixer. They are more on the pricey side again. This Bosch mixer is totally worth it. It can accommodate a couple loaves of bread for me. it is an investment. It is not something that you may be able to get right offhand, especially if you don't really know if you're going to stick with it. But there are a lot of attachments for this that I have yet to get that I would like to get, which is like the ice cream maker. I believe there's like a sifter for when you're using freshly ground flour to get the hole and everything out of. So that this is an investment. But for me personally, it's very worth it because I can mix a couple loaves of bread. I can triple, quadruple batches of different recipes within this, and I don't have to worry about it. While I'm here, just did dishes. I have this. This is I think it's like a Pyrex. As you can see, there's water dripping down. This is a like 9x13 glass pan. I use this. I had to buy a couple of these. A lot of people use these for just freezer meals. I use these daily for oatmeals and anything like that. This one I specifically like. I think it's OXO, I guess. It's not Pyrex. It has a lid that goes on it, and this sucker latches onto it. It is hard to get off. So this was a must for me. Some other musts while we are here. Good cutting boards, specifically wood ones. This one I've had, oh my gosh, it's older than my oldest child who just turned 11. So this is probably a good 12, 13 years old. And wood doesn't hold bacteria in it like plastic does. So wood is always my go-to. Having jars. This is just a regular quart wide mouth mason jar. But I have loads and loads and loads of different size jars because I don't like plastic in my home if I can help it. There are some things that we just have plastic for, but these are so versatile. Not only do I use them for canning, but I use them for my herbs that I'm drying. I use them for just tinctures and that I'm making, or if I'm going to make an herbal oil, I pull these bad boys out and I use them. I have plastic lids that go with it, so they're something, but they're reusable. And then I'm not wasting or using my nice lids for canning just on everyday purposes. I like to keep those for canning because, I mean, what was it? A couple of years ago, people couldn't find lids, so I'm just gonna err on the side of caution if that happens again and just not use them if I can help it. This is a 1/2 gallon. I originally got these for when we had goats and I was milking into it. Now, as you can see, or maybe you can't, I'm using it as a sourdough starter. I actually have a 2-gallon one that I use too, but since having this little ham right here, I'm not tending to it as much, so I downsized so I'm not wasting my flour and everything, because originally I was using it every day for every little thing. A lot of my baking stuff I've recently accumulated as I've learned to bake bread and do a lot of other things from scratch. So some of my main things that I've actually bought extra of are like the Banneton baskets for proofing the sourdough. Really like these. If you like the oblongs or the nice oval standard one. Another really important thing that I have found is my food processor. And I have a very large one. This is a Ninja. This is just the top part. And there's actually an extension, I think it goes in here, to make it even larger. But this is a 12-cup, 3-liter beast. And I absolutely love that for shredding cheese, making breadcrumbs, stuff like that. This is just really simple. I made salmon cakes the other day by just putting everything in here. And it was so easy. For bread, I found these because they're nice and long, just like normal store-bought bread basically. And I like using these for when I'm gonna plan on making sandwiches. Otherwise, I have a lot of different kinds of bread dishes, just a standard glass, which again I really like. I have the stoneware, I have the cast iron. The cast iron is nice, it's just a little like short, stunted. You really need to have some good baking sheets. These are the stoneware from Pampered Chef. And right before I did this video, I was washing my dishes, one of these was in there, and there's a nice crack down the center. So take that as you will. My bacon also likes to smoke on these. I like them. I like that they're sturdy, but they're just not working out as well as my other ones. I would like to get stainless steel ones. However, right now I'm using aluminum, and I just put parchment paper down, or I use these little slippery things that you see hanging out. See, this is a real kitchen, y'all. This is a working kitchen. It's not pretty, but I try to be as organized as possible. Part of what we are about in this home is that we try not to be very wasteful. We try to have things that we can reuse over and over again. Paper towels being one of the things that I really don't like. So I, a couple years ago, switched over to using cloth pretty much everywhere that we possibly can, including cloth diapers here. Our first two, we did cloth diaper fully. The last two, not so much. This one, we're planning on fully cloth diapering him, and I'll go over that in another video if you guys are interested. But having towels instead of paper towels has been a great thing, because I don't know if you noticed, or I hung up a thing on the door for putting the dirties in. It's in our pantry that has our laundry room in it as well. And that way we just do a load of towels whenever we need to. I also have cloth napkins in a drawer. It's just nice to know that I'm not making excess waste. Some of the other things that I really find that are needed within a from scratch large family kitchen are really good utensils. Wooden ones, silicone ones, and stainless steel ones I find very helpful. I don't like those plastic ones, fiberware, that kind of stuff. Not my game. Also, at minimum, a crock pot, or if you want to get fancy, get the Instant Pot. The only thing that I've really used the Instant Pot for was when we had goats. I was making milk, or I was making yogurt quite a bit with their milk, which is nice. If I ever get back to dairy animals, then that would definitely become a valuable tool for me. Right now, I am trying to learn how to use it with like dinners and stuff, because I'm not always prepared as much as I'd like to be anymore with meal planning. So sometimes it is nice to be able to throw in a frozen piece of meat, put it on for, half hour to an hour, depending on how big it is, and actually have a home cooked meal. So that is valuable. Mixing bowls, really good quality mixing bowls are really important, especially ones that have like lids, because I do a lot of bread baking, like I said, and not having to use saran wrap on it on the top for when they are rising is great. Really large stock pots for making soups and broths, and even being able to diversify it and use it with your food preservation. You can even use it if it's large enough for water bath canning. That is nice to have a multi-purpose tool like that. If you're just starting out, don't feel overwhelmed. Just kind of take stock of where you're at, what supplies you have at home, what your family eats, what you're wanting to do with your kitchen, what your goals are, and then maybe even make a list of, hey, when I have this amount of money, I want this next, I want this, I want this. And as you're learning and growing in your from scratch cooking skills, things may shift and move in your priority, and just know that it's not going to happen overnight unless you have just a good bank account right now, in which case, have at it. But for most people, we're buying a piece here, we're buying a piece there. We're seeing what works for us. We're seeing what our needs are as we grow in our skills, especially when it comes to like food preservation and baking, and then using that food preservation in your cooking skills. That's something that I'm still actively learning. It's fun to try and learn to incorporate all the good food that I have put up for the family into meals, and not just letting it sit there pretty on my shelves. Let me know if you found this helpful. If you have any questions, if there's anything else that you'd like to see, please let me know. My little guy is starting to kind of wake up, maybe. No, but yeah, this is life. So please like, subscribe, and follow. I will have a blog post for this in the description, so you can actually kind of go through and read about everything, and maybe even get an idea if you're more of a reader than just watching something. You can have a little list made out for you. So again, I'll have the blog post in the bottom.